What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And of course, we're talking college football today. We're going to be talking no house advantage. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And of course, we're talking no house advantage, college football specifically today. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about no house advantage. They have a lot of awesome offerings for you guys. Before we get started, I'm going to bring you over to the platform and kind of just show you guys what they have going on and then dive into the picks. So, a lot of different things you can do with No House Advantage. The first thing I want to highlight here is they have all sorts of pick'em contests where you can go to this featured tab, look up all the contests they have for the major sports, NBA, NFL, MLB. These are just like your standard GPPs. You can see the ones for tonight, this NBA contest, 6% full. You're playing against other people in these contests, and there's the chance to win thousands of dollars here. This comes with a lot of overlay, typically on a night-to-night basis, and it has all of your standard sports. But where we're going to go today, and my personal favorite, is the Verse the House tab up here. So this is another thing you can do. So this is for the 28th, for the college football slate. We're going to head over to the 29th. This is where you're making lineups of player props. You can see, for example, we've got a couple college football games up right now with some passing props, some rushing props, some receiving props. You see the number, you're going over and under on these, and you're making lineups with them. So that's the goal of today's video. But before we get started, they do have a solid offering for you guys. There is a first match deposit bonus up to $50 when you click the link in the video description below. We have projections for college football, so they're very useful in these pick'em contests. But then for the major sports like MLB, NFL, we have tools and lineup generators for No House Advantage to help you take advantage of the pick'em contests as well here. But make sure to check them out. Again, video description below. Click that, get your first match deposit bonus up to $50. But let's talk the college football slate. So it's pretty early in the day here still. We've only got a couple games on the board. You're going to see TCU taking on West Virginia, Ohio State, Penn State, so a couple of the marquee games. They add props to this throughout the night and then as well as tomorrow morning. So next time you look at this, you might see more games. You will see more games. So again, cross-reference those with the projections, but let's talk these two games specifically before we get into the props in tomorrow's game. So we're going to start over here with this West Virginia TCU game. This is the game where I actually like a few more of the props than the game before it, the Ohio State game. And I want to start with West Virginia, where there's JT Daniels at 264.5 passing yards. This is one I'm looking at towards the under, and a few reasons why. And, this kind of makes me nervous to say because this very well could be a shootout. Neither of these defenses are particularly good. But let's start with the game total here. That's where all projections come from to begin. It's 68.5 points. There's a 7.5 point spread in favor of TCU. That still gives West Virginia a 30.5 implied team total. This team is also fast, 44th in pace, 53.5% pass rate. Now, all that suggests, okay, maybe the over here. Well, here's why I like the under. JT Daniels has been in these game environments multiple times this year. If you look at his statistical profile, he's only averaging 241 passing yards per game on 36 attempts. This is a yards per attempt of about 6.6 yards, which is not efficient. And this is a guy that struggles a lot with pressure. Not only in his turnovers, he has more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws this year, but he also takes a lot of sacks. So you can see there is a tendency for JT Daniels to let pressure affect him, and that could ultimately shorten the game for West Virginia if there are turnovers. Anything like that really hurts Daniels. And then from a raw projection standpoint, unless this game shoots over the total of 69 or it plays somewhere in a standard deviation away from the spread, JT Daniels towards the under is the play here. He projects in the 250s for us. So it's not the biggest value you're probably going to see once we get all of the games, but it is a decent value nonetheless. And our second one, we're going to go to Max Duggan, and it's actually the opposite. It's over for him. And again, we just talked the game environment for this team. Well, on the TCU side, they have the massive implied team total of 30 points. Again, they're 7.5 point favorites in this matchup. And unlike what we saw on the other side with Daniels, Duggan has been hyper efficient. He's averaging 267 yards per game through the air on just 27.5 attempts. These numbers are depressed because Duggan started the year really is the backup, honestly. And then Chandler Morris got injured. So there's a little bit of a warped statistical profile with Dugan just because he wasn't the full-time starter to begin the year. However, if you extrapolate his recent sample where he actually started every single game, his yardage average is higher than this. And then, unlike West Virginia, TCU has a phenomenal matchup through the air. West Virginia is allowing 9.1 yards per pass attempt. They're in the bottom 10, not in the Power 5, in all of FBS football. That's 131 teams. They're in the bottom 10 in pass defense, whether it's yards per attempt, explosiveness, even PFF's grades have them in the bottom 10. And part of that's due to injury. They've lost a couple guys in the secondary, and it doesn't look like they're going to return. We'll end up watching this throughout the coming day before the game kicks off, but ultimately it's going to be a good matchup for Dugan regardless. He's a stable of pass catchers, which he can rely on. Quentin Johnson being the main one, 28.7 target share for him. No prop for him specifically just yet, but he is a guy who we might see come up in the following hours or so before game kicks off. I'll be watching that, but it's going to be an over with Dugan. We're going to give you a third from this game specifically. Again, they have Ohio State, Penn State on the board. In my opinion, this is incredibly efficient pricing for them. Good job. No house advantage, but I think you could also go Sam James. This is another one I like towards the under. If we like the under on Daniels, this is semi-correlated. This one's not quite the same value that we saw with the JT Daniels and Dugan value, but there's a lot of volatility in this West Virginia passing attack, and James is seeing a reduced role. Target share of 16%. If you look at the targets for the top three receivers over the last 4 games, you have 8.8 targets per game for Bryce Ford Wheaton. You have 9.3 for Caden Prather. Sam James comes in behind them at 6.8. However, that's bolstered by a 13-target game in their third most recent contest. He hasn't seen more than 6 targets in 3 of the last 4. So it's kind of just that third most recent game that's propping up Sam James here. So this is one I'll look to short as well here. And, there's a lot of cool things you can do here. As you can see, you need to make at least 2 picks here, but you can go up to 5 where you have the chance to 20x your entry fee. So there's a lot of cool features over here with no house advantage. And again, they're expanding these throughout the weekend with more college football props. And of course, if you want to look at other stuff, again, this is today's. We've got hockey lines. There's all sorts of basketball lines, everything you want from the verse the house feature. And then, of course, the pick'em feature where you're going to be playing against your fellow humans in real contests for guaranteed prize pools. Like your GPPs, take advantage of that overlay. It's one of the best things you can do to boost your bankroll. But that'll do it for us today. Let me know in the comments section what you think of these picks, if you agree, disagree, and let me know if there's anything else you're looking at. You can always find me on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski if you'd like to reach out. And make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe on the way out. Otherwise, thank you to No House Advantage for sponsoring the video. We will see you guys again next week, breaking down No House Advantage again. Good luck.